Let's just go. Let's do this. Oh, look at that. I'm live. All right, I'm going to wait a few minutes for some folks to get in here. And I'm going to just check a few things as we go. But, just, come on in. Help yourself to, nothing. There's nothing here to help yourself to. So we'll get started here in a few minutes. But before we do that, anyone who's watching maybe after the fact, while I wait for a few people to come in, there is a link down below. Here, let me change perspective. This is an old thing. To do stuff with all this crap. Go down there and do it. You know what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to go back into here. Simon Blue, what's up, buddy? How you doing? I just want to make sure everything's groovy here. I know I'm streaming, but sometimes you screw these things up, and I hope the thumbnail's proper. Okay, no, we're good. We are good. Excellent. What's up, Creepers and Geekers? How's everyone doing today? I promised we would start doing some kind of like just random live chat things. I think more times than not, we're not going to have a topic. But today I want to talk about something I've been meaning to talk about all week. You folks have to, accept my apology, please. I haven't really been active all week long. There's been a lot to talk about. I've been kind of overconsumed with my mom and all kinds of stuff like that. Not looking for the sympathy thing, but, the reality of the situation is we're getting to a critical part with my mom, and we're all trying to figure out what to do. And since I'm the only one in town, it all, okay, good. All volumes are good? Awesome. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's taken up a lot of my time. I've actually had to take a few days off of work and all kinds of stuff. So I really haven't been on here. And this is going to be wicked old news, which might, be a little bit refreshing for someone who's tired of hearing it from before. A couple days go by. I don't know. But I do want to talk about last weekend's event with the Amico down in Texas at the the video game museum that's down there. I've always wanted to go check that out. Ever since I heard about its forthcoming, so to speak. I've always been interested in just seeing, museums in general don't really do much for me. The Boston Museum of Science is fun because there's a lot of interactive stuff. I'm sure the video game museum is likewise, But the idea of going down there and just, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff I don't know about, just to see where technology has brought us from here to there. I mean, we all know the story for the most part. But it'd be interesting to go down there. But more so, it was pretty cool that Tommy took a couple of his consoles out and put them on a table and let people jam on them. I know we all know this. We had Brett Weiss. We had the video game virus down there, and a couple other folk who I don't think have channels, but they're part of our circles here, down there jamming on it. But more importantly, families. There were a couple of families that none of us know. And they were all playing the thing. And it looks like they had a good time. It looks like they had a real good time. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, with as much of the footage that was going out there, I think that's going to help out a great deal with the demographic in which Tommy's hoping to hunt for, I mean, he's already got most of us locked in, with the exception, of course. That's another thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about OEB Pete here in a minute. But it was nice watching the footage. I even did like a little... hey, Jerome, what's up, buddy? Good morning. How are you? I did like a little, cheeky little, I don't get to play the Amico, so let's just play Atari instead. You know what I mean? I wasn't genuinely butthurt at all. Had I known about it, I may have booked a flight down there. I don't know. We literally just celebrated 100 days before we go to Disney, so I probably wouldn't have done that, because I'm trying to keep my funds together for Disney. And of course the Amico. I have my no joke, my Amico fund right here. It still has the Amico on it and everything. I put this up the day the pre-orders were going to be announced. But you also notice there's a lightsaber there, because I want to go to Savvy's workshop and build myself a lightsaber while I'm down in Disney World. So I got probably about $300-400 in there now, and it's all rolled up and everything. It's heavy as shit. Good to hear, Jerome. Good to hear, man. You're welcome. So I probably wouldn't have flown down there to do it. I'm patient. I'm patient enough. I I don't know how to describe it. It's one of those things in my mind where it's like I'm so detached from it because it doesn't truly exist to me until it's here in my hands and I can play with it and everything. So it's just an idea that I'm excited about, and then it kind of and then another video will come out or something like that, and I'll get more excited. But this past weekend's videos really, it made it feel real. It made it feel really, really real. And it really amped up that excitement and that anticipation for it for this fall. And, God be with it. Hopefully it will be out in the fall. I have no doubt. I didn't think it would be out this April. I could tell you that for sure. As soon as he announced that we weren't going to make 10/10 last year, and they were going to punch it for April, I was thinking to myself, no, I don't think you're gonna, dude. And I'm not saying anything negative against Tommy. I'm not sitting there trying to say that he didn't know his shit. I think they were still trying to aim for something like that, and then they realized, and they did the right thing. They realized, you know what, we can't do this properly by then. So let's just go back to our 10/10. Let's just go back. And I think that was probably the best idea, in my opinion, anyway. But back to the event, watching folks playing it, the video game virus, and of course a few other people, it was fun to watch. But let's see. I was just going to ask when. When what? I'm not the brightest bulb in the batch, so you have to be a little bit more exacting than that, because I tend to talk here and talk here and talk here. So by the time the chat catches up with the lag here, I have no idea what you're asking. So you're just going to ask when what. But I was watching the other families. Now, I know there's already been memes out about that one chick looking at her watch. And I believe that was a spouse or partner of that gentleman from Screw Attack. Was he from Screw Attack? Amico coming out. Right now it's projected to be October 10th of this year. Obviously, founders are going to get it about a week or so sooner, hopefully. That's me. Yay! But yeah, he's announced that it's going to come out October 10th of this year. So they're going back to his sister's birthday to honor her. Last year it was 10/10/2020 was just a fun number, and then they tried to do the 4-3-2-1 go with April, and it didn't work out. But I think it works out better that way in October. But going back to watching the families and everything, it was refreshing to see them play, and it was great seeing the games being played in a real, I don't want to say a real life situation. Bacon ice cream, what's up, Rich? What's going on, bud? It's all dark in here. It's always dark in here. It's always darkness. Here, I'll tell you what. Here we go. None more black, my friend. All right, I'm just kidding. I'll stop doing that. But it was nice, and it made it feel real. And I just wanted to get on here and, be damned. Because I have a lot of friends that are anti-Amico. I got a lot of really good friends that are, and they're on that other side of the camp. That are going to make fun of me in about 20 minutes. But I do want to congratulate Tommy. I really do think last weekend was an enormous victory. And I think it's exactly what the Amico needed for that push. Not necessarily to convert. Spinal Tap. Spinal Tap rules. As a matter of fact, I think one of the first riffs I'm going to play on this bass guitar that I'm putting together. Here, let me get that. We don't have to just talk about Amico. I'm going to start this new thing where we just chat. People have shown some interest in it. I got 2 guitar projects going right now. And this is a bass guitar, if you haven't been following. I got for $21 at Savers. And I did a fabric top to it. And this is it's a Universal Monsters theme. I still need to clean up the edges and then paint the back, and then give it like a little burst to hide the edges. But I think Big Bottoms is going to be one of the first songs I play on this thing. I also have a 3D printed guitar here. I literally just got, I think, the last piece to it that I need. Here's the main body. And then this is going to kind of go here. That might not be the right direction, but whatever. This is a fully 3D printed body. I will give more details on that when I show the video of showing it off. I actually toyed around with the idea of rebranding the channel, Games and Guitars, you know, the Atari Creep, or whatever. But the neck came in yesterday. I just got like a cheap neck on eBay. I rolled the dice and said, you know what, $35 or whatever it was. And I'm not going to lie, I'm genuinely impressed. I mean, it's not a quality neck by any stretch of the imagination. You're not going to find this on a boutique fucking heirloom quality guitar. But it's good enough. It's good enough. It's got that composite fake rosewood that they make from multiple woods. The fretwork, this is what... I want to do a rant about Fender guitars. I love Fender guitars. And I'm really in love with the new Acoustasonics, especially that new Jazzmaster one. I went and played one. Actually, I got to go pick up an amp. I bought an amp last week, but I couldn't pick it up because it was on serial number restriction. You know, when you trade in something, they have to hold on to it for so long to run the serial number to make sure it's not stolen. And I had to wait until today. So when the girls get home from school, one of them wanted to come with me. But I'm going to go get that today. But I played the Acoustasonic last week when I went and finished paying it off. And I was appalled by the fretwork on this $2,000 guitar. Now, you can attribute it to this thing called fret sprout. When the wood starts doing its thing and starts to shrink a little bit, the frets, of course, can't move because they're metal. So they'll poke out on the edges, and they call that fret sprout. So I guess you could attribute it to that, but it was all the way down. It was as if they did the leveling and the crowning, but they never cleaned up the edges. The entire neck was sharp. And they had the balls to say, yeah, if you want, you can pay us to do the fretwork after you buy the guitar. And I'm like, really? It's a $2,000 brand new guitar. You'll do the fretwork for me, buddy, and then make Fender pay you for it. But the point I'm saying is this was a $30, $35 neck, and the fretwork's immaculate. I ran a fret level across it, and there's only a couple of high frets, and I think I could just tap them in. I don't even think I have to do a fret job on it. So hopefully we'll have a 3D printed guitar here pretty soon to be showing off. Wow, the chat's moving along. Jason, what's up, buddy? See, what's up, Creeper? I hope Amico works out. I bought the Atari VCS as a backer. Yeah. You know, even if it doesn't work out, I have no reason not to think it will. I know I am going to buy as much for it as I can, especially since I'm going to have a $50 gift card that comes with my Founders Edition. I'm gonna stockpile as much games as I can, and even if it doesn't, in the very slight chance that I think it won't, I'll have a really cool machine with a ton of games, you know, and it'll just be something nostalgic to remember about. If anything, it's the experience I'm going for. If you watch a lot of my earlier videos talking about the Amico, a lot of my firsts are happening with Amico. I've never pre-ordered anything up until the Amico. And I've never been on the ground floor of anything like this. And talking about it as it escalates or as it unfolds, I should say. So there was a lot of firsts, and I'm more into this for the experience. And I know it's a $300 experience that I'm going to be shilling out, you know. I didn't mean to use the actual word shill, but shelling out. I'll admit being a shill. Oh, wrong side. I don't mind being called a shill. You can fucking call me a shill all day long. I love the Amico for what it represents to be. And then when it gets here, I'm pretty sure I'll love it as a thing. But I don't even know where I was going with that. But it was more the experience that I'm really excited about now. And then hopefully I'll have a really cool product to say, yeah, the experience was worth it. Or I could sit there and be like, what the fuck? You know? But either way, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. That's gonna be a cool bass. Thank you, MW Games. I really appreciate that. Hopefully it'll become a cool bass. It's actually, I'm gonna guess late '60s, early '70s. It's one of those like Tesco style instruments. I don't remember exactly which one I brought it down to. I have it on my phone. But there were two models. There were two models with the exact same thing. I did a video of breaking it down and looking into it. If you want to check that out on my page. It's not too long ago. I've only had the bass for like a month or two, maybe tops. But it's one of those Japanese-made student instruments from the 60s or 70s. I couldn't date this one because I don't have a serial number, and it's tough to date those things anyway. Unless you're balls deep in the allure of it, and well, they didn't go with this bridge or this pickup until this certain. I'm not really that, knowledgeable of such things, but thank you, I appreciate it. I hope I do it justice, because I don't own a bass, and I wouldn't mind having a bass. I want to start recording music again, and that's mainly why I was looking at the Acoustasonic. I don't have $2,000 for something like that, but I don't mind selling off some of the stuff that's on a shelf over in the other room that I'm literally doing nothing with. I'm actually toying with the idea of selling my original Masters of the Universe collection, and just keeping the ones I've been getting that are new now, just to have the money to go get an Acoustasonic. But we'll worry about that when that road goes. Let's see. The Atari VCS joystick controller looks great. I hope to eventually get one of those. I refuse to order it through them. Not for any other reason than I would rather just go into a store, grab one off the shelf, and buy it with a gift card. Or, on sale with a coupon or something like that, Let's see. Bacon Ice Cream says, I'm all over getting these games too. Going all Pokemon on the Amico. I don't know if I'm going to play the Catch 'em All game. I'm going to treat the Amico exactly how I treat everything else around here, with the exception of vintage Atari. Atari is pretty much the only thing I'll just buy. If I don't have it, I'll just buy it if it's reasonably priced. But everything else, it's what I think I'll play. I don't want to waste space, and I don't want to waste the plastic. And if someone else could use something that's just sitting on my shelf collecting dust. Not that would be the case here, because it's going to be all digital, but with the exception of the physical media, I know. But I'm only going to download the games that look fun to me. Or if the girls or my lady says, hey, can we get this specific game? Yeah, fuck it, just hit the button thing. I'm sure my information will be in there. So they never have to ask permission. We just have to make sure we have the space for it. Let's see. Jason over here says, it's a great mini PC. Oh, we're still talking about the VCS. I think they've tried all the consoles, blah, 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 blah. They have a small store for some new game titles and some ports for the VCS, along with the Atari Vault. The controller is great. That's good to hear. When it first came out, people were talking about the joystick itself snapping or something like that. And then that just disappeared, and everyone's like, dude, this is great. It works awesome. You can upgrade the Atari's memory and SSD hard drive. You have to excuse me. You know what? I fucking paid for the things. Why don't I use them, right? You can upgrade the Atari's memory, the SSD hard drive. Yeah, I know. I do plan on getting a legit VCS eventually. I do have. Hold on. Isn't it nice that all these projects are just here? I got my Trooper helmet over here. I can show you that here in a second. I still have this that I'm dragging my ass on. 3D printed this one, and put a real wood veneer. It's real wood. Hashtag. Actually, I still have the strips right here. It's I had to stain it. This is, you iron this on. It's for like when you have a door that has trim around the edges and they're falling apart. You just kind of iron this on. It was pretty neat. It was scary because this is PLA, and PLA is very sensitive to heat. But I put it on there after I stained it. That was probably the biggest mistake, because some of the stain in the corners here kind of bleached out a little bit. So note to self, next time I do this, if I do it again, I'm not going to. Stain it after you stain it after you get it secured to the face of the thing. And I got this Raspberry Pi Zero W for free. There's a local shop here called, well, it's not just local here. They have multiple stores across the nation, called Micro Center. And we talked about them when I actually talked about doing this very thing. They actually have a $100 package, which I don't think is worth it, where you could take a Raspberry Pi that comes in a package and turn it into an Atari box, so to speak. And has its own little Raspberry Pi housing and everything. This Raspberry Pi housing is one I printed up myself. And I actually talked about doing that very thing, and you can have yourself your own VCS, because at the time, that's pretty much all they were talking about it being. And it sounds like it kind of still is just that. If I could do it here on this laptop, you can do it on the VCS. Um, take that for what it is. Take that for whatever it is. But I'm hoping to get that going. The only thing I need to do is actually just load up the emulators. Raspberry Pi is on it. I haven't gone through it yet. I've just been lazy. Been lazy and busy with my mom's health issues. But I don't know. Hey, Linda. Linda, a.k.a. the Gamer Girl. She's here. She's in the chat. All right. Hey, Creeper. Greetings from Mississippi. Hey, we spoke yesterday. I said Mississippi's the funnest state to say. I've always wanted to go down there. I've always wanted to go down that way and just soak in the musical history of that part of the country. Always been really into Delta blues and stuff like that. Everything, the Crossroads, and just the whole lore of all of that fascinates me. Some of mankind's greatest musicians came from that region of the country. Just real beautiful stuff. Tragic stuff. A lot of tragic stuff. I've always wanted to just travel down there, but I'm from the Northeast, and I've traveled south. I don't get the greatest reception, even though I try to be a nice guy. I don't get the greatest reception in the southern states. So I was traveling with my sister-in-law, and I want to say it was Virginia. It might have been Virginia. I don't remember. But it was her time to drive, so I was sleeping in the back of the Explorer. And we woke up, and I was still smoking back then. I wanted my coffee. So I went in there, and the dude's just like, you ain't from around here, is you? And, whatever. And I was just like, I need cigarettes and I need coffee. We all fucking know I'm not from here. Just give me my fucking products. I was such a prick to the poor bastard. I was surprised I didn't have pitchforks and fucking hounds coming after me, but Mississippi's always been a place I've wanted to check out. Australia, Atari 2600, dude. Hey, thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. I really do. Oh, that looks great. That's badass. I hope you're talking about the Atari VCS I'm printing up. I got to come up with a name for it. I'm not calling it my VCS. I'm not calling it that. Anita doesn't work here anymore. I need to figure it out. BJ, what is up? No, I'm not talking about blowjobs. Someone named BJ just came in. We could set up a live stream, and you could show off the VCS I upgraded. Yeah, if I could figure out how to do that in a live stream situation, I would honestly much rather do that than a Skype situation. I love the nuances of shit just happening. You know what I mean? Whether it's for the better or not. Let's roll. Yeah, well, I'm rolling. I'm going to shut this window. Excuse me. I had it open because downstairs is replacing his oven from gas to electricity. In this apartment, I'm upstairs. Just got... It's all fucking gas smell up here. And I thought I was going to die. I even texted my girl, like, hey, if you come home and I'm on the floor dead, it's because they're playing with gas downstairs, and I asphyxiated. I'm going to die live on camera here, and I'm going to become one of those, Chill's Top 10 YouTubers that died on live streams. Number 10. I can't do his voice. His voice is so distinct and so annoying, to be perfectly honest with you. Call it Creeptari. I don't know. I don't know if I want to brand Creep stuff. Don't get me wrong. I dig the whole Creep thing. It became its own little thing. I don't know. It was a name I came up with in a pinch. I'll explain that here in a minute. But I want to go back to OEB Pete. We mentioned that about 10 minutes ago. Bacon Ice Cream says, the Ace Atari Creep Entertainment Center. Oh, Aces. I need to come up with something for asses. But you're on to something there, Rich. You're on to something there. The Amico needs to come out now. Well, I agree with you on the excitement factor, but I've always been a strong proponent for I'll wait as long as it takes to get it done properly. I don't want it half-assed. I want Tommy to come out with it how it's supposed to come out. I want his vision to be realized and then some. So I'm excited too. Last week's, what we were talking about initially in the stream, which we'll go back to it because there's a bunch of people jumping in. I think last weekend really, like I said, it made it feel real finally. They made it feel real. We've been seeing video playing. We've been seeing him parade plastic in front of us, and we've been seeing him and his team playing games in their office. But none of that really truly feels real until you just see some random fuck sitting on a couch that you have no idea who they are playing the thing, you know? They could have been paid, I don't know. But no, in all seriousness, that made it fucking feel real. Let's see. Movie Madness and Entertainment. What games do you think look the best? First of all, thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. Right now, I think Shock looks amazing. Much like OEB Pete, I got a little, Tommy and I don't talk as much as we used to. I've given the reins to OEB Pete pretty much. He's the guy. He's Amico now. So, and he can have it. And he can have it because my anxiety of having to be like, oh God, everyone was expecting. I'm glad he took it. I keep wanting to get back to that. He released a video today that I want to talk about. But, Shock. I think Shock looks fantastic. I think Shock so far, to me, looks like what the vision of the console is supposed to be. I was 50-50 on Astro Smash at first, but I've warmed up to it a little bit more. The backgrounds to me at first looked a little cheesy, but I also had to try to remember that it was still works in progress, and the more we got to see them, I think that looks great. Shark still comes to mind. Of course, Moon Patrol looks amazing. Looks and sounds great. It's satisfying when you're blowing shit up in Moon Patrol, even playing it on this nasty, way to play a video game. I'll admit it, I hate cell phones as game controllers. And I know a lot of people are going to come back and, well, that's basically what the Amico controller, there's buttons on it, so shut the fuck up, all right? There's buttons on it, and I will use that. My guests can use their damn phones, okay? I'll use the controller. And that's all there is to that. But yeah, I'm going to stick with Shark for right now. I think that, to me, represents what the vision of the Amico is. It's a nice looking game. It sounds great. Oh, I can't wait for you guys to hear that. A couple of the sound effects he shared with me, some of the music, really good stuff, and it really complements the game. Grudge, what's up, buddy? See, I wasn't sold on the Astro Smash graphics before, but it looks amazing in person. Oh, okay. See, there we go. It even looks better in person now. I'm sold on it for the most part now. See, Tommy is a great guy, but he's hyped up to the point I'm afraid he can't live up to it. You know what, dude? Tommy, if anything, is a great showman. He is a great showman. He knows how to have an idea, and he knows how to convey it out there. And look at his career. He's been able to accomplish pretty much everything he has set out to do. He's just one of them cats that says, you know what, I'm going to fucking do this. And he does it. Think about it. Before Video Games Live, would you have ever imagined anyone touring playing nothing but video game music? I know a lot of us would have loved something like that. But can you imagine the idea of that? And I'm pretty damn sure when he introduced the idea to whomever was, I'm sure there had to be some investment behind it. Because I know for a fact going on tour is more than just a bunch of fucks getting into a bus with their instruments and going from joint to joint and jamming for a beer tab. You know what I mean? I've done it. I've lived that. I've been in the back of U-Hauls praying to God that the equipment doesn't fall on me because it's my turn to be in the back. The guy puts his mind to it, and it happens. And I think I have more faith in the guy than I do in the product. And that's what sold me initially. And now I have faith in the product because of last weekend, exactly what I wanted to talk about today. I hope he gets the Smurfs license. That would be pretty cool. Bacon Ice Cream says, hey, Grudge and Linda. He's just greeting people. At least Tommy is trying to deliver on showing the unit off. He's there, and at least, yeah, you know what? And my biggest gripe with Atari, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I stopped saying the people who call themselves Atari. I'm owning up to it now. They're Atari, okay? They have things out in the market now. We'll just call them Atari. Is their deception and lack of communication. It's 3.5 years of bullshit and silence. I've made a couple of videos about that very thing. And I think it would have been received a little bit better by the naysayers had they just been a little more transparent. People want transparency these days. They really do. They want to know everything about everything because information is instant in our society. Instant. You can find out anything at the click of a fucking button. That's it. And when people don't have that control anymore, I think they start to make up drama where drama truly isn't. I personally am the opposite. I like the anticipation. I think the Amico is doing exactly what the Amico should be doing. I think he's releasing shit in the right. I mean, there's a few times where I'm like, oh, I think he's gone a little too long. But for the most part, I think he's doing it right. He's a little here and here and here, you know. The first hit's free. You know what I mean? See, I hope they get the Smurfs. We already read that. Smurfs would be a great license. It's popular in the U.S. and Europe. Great idea, Ramey. Grudge says. Grudge Q. Ramey says, I wonder if Tommy's cousin is one of his silent partners. You know what? You never know. You never know. As you know, Aerosmith is local here. And matter of fact, one of the buildings, the music complex that my bands used to jam as, one of the ones where Aerosmith actually started. I unknowingly, as a teenager, jammed with their drummer. I don't know a lot about Aerosmith. I know the hits, and my older brother was really into Aerosmith. I could never get into it. I mean, it's great music, and they're real talented musicians and everything. But at the time when my musical tastes were developing, I was all about the thrash metal, and that's it. I wanted death, destruction, and mayhem, and fast E, you know? And, so I didn't really pay attention. I mean, I listened to a lot of classic rock, don't get me wrong. I grew up in a house with a former greaser, listening to what now would be considered rockabilly style music. And then my brothers, who are much older than me, were into more of what we would classify as the classic rock of the day. Whereas I was into the Creator. I was into Forbidden. I was into Slayer and Malaya Rage and Halloween and all that stuff. I know not all of those bands were thrash metal, but you get the point. So I wasn't I wasn't bright when it comes to certain things like that. So my buddy Joe, who was in a foster home in a town adjacent to us, the foster father grew up with their drummer. As a matter of fact, he had a huge gold record on the wall. And I guess there was only 5 of these frames, this specific setup for Pump. And it said, thanks so-and-so for helping me out through the tough years and all that stuff. You have number 1 of 5 of these. And I never put the 2 and 2 together, but they were constantly saying, hey, why don't you come over and jam with us? Because he had a drum set in the basement. So I would grab my PV Bandit 112. And I think at the time I had a Chevelle Model 6 that I kind of punked somebody out of. And it was, the Desert Rose guitar. It was fucking gorgeous. Loved it. And I went over there, and there was this dude behind the drum set. And we're just playing, you know. I'm trying to be heavy, and he's just doing. And then finally someone says, "Do you know how to play any Aerosmith?" And I said, "Fuck that shit, no." And they all laughed. I'm like, "Oh, let me guess, he's in Aerosmith?" And they're like, "Yep." Mm-hmm. So we played "Walk This Way." It's an easy riff, you know. Oh, dude, SOD was mad. Can you imagine SOD coming out today? Speak English or die. Really? Oh, I hope that doesn't get me fucked on YouTube. AIDS? That song alone right there would not come out today. Oh, man. Dude, the riffs he came up with in that band are just so, they're not fast. They're just crushing. They punch you right in the gut. They give you that same feeling that Breaking Glass does. It's fucking awesome. I want some milk. You want to squeeze it out of my nipples? Okay, I'll just have some coffee instead. I don't know if that's just a weirdo troll thing, because I know I like to go in the chat to say I like grasshoppers, so. I hope you are successful in your victory of getting milk. Godsmack. Oh, I got a Godsmack story, too. They're local. We used to open up for them all the time here at this place called the Atlantic Lounge on Revere Beach. Actually, no. It was called the Tank when we played there. And let's just say I got into a physical altercation with one of them. And his nose is the way it is because of me. Not proud of it, but it was a fucked up situation. It was a real fucked up. Long story short, I had to drive all the way out there from another town. And the way my band at the time did it was we had our equipment at home for the most part, and then we would meet up at the gig. So I drove all the way to the gig. I walk in, and the place where we were playing at is pretty shady. I mean, we found bodies in there the next day that OD'd like in the basement or some shit like that. So it wasn't like the most classiest joint ever. So we tended to go in there, have a beer or two before we even did anything to make sure we're actually going to be playing. And members of the band come over and they're like, oh, we heard about this, like our first experience with them. Yeah, we heard about you guys and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, oh, yeah, go ahead and bring your equipment in. So I brought it in. I brought my head, my cabinet, my guitars, and all my pedals and all this shit because I thought I had to have all this crap. And I got it all set up. I tuned all the guitars, got them all ready. And then they come laughing and go, oh, yeah, your band called and said you're not playing tonight. You got to bring all that shit back to the car, buddy. So I punched one of them. I punched one of them right in the fucking skull. And a couple of weeks later, they were on a big tour, and their music was being used for the U.S. Army, and that show Fear on MTV. Remember Fear? That was a great fucking show. See, I want some milk. It's it's an SLD song. I'm sorry, dude. Oh, the camel toe. Oh my God, I'm sorry, man. All right, you're right. Oh, I mean, you can still squeeze some milk out of my nipples if you'd like. I mean, you have to give me like $5, but I'll let you try. No, I'm just fucking with you. But before I forget, let's talk about OEB Pete's video today. OEB Pete is probably the nicest cat on the planet, and I love his program. I really do. I watch it. I may not interact with all of it. But if he ever watches this, I want you to know, bro, I'm there. I'm always there in the fucking shadows like the creep should be. Today he made a startling revelation that he is my fault. His channel, for whatever it is, as it comes to or relates to the Amico, whether you like him or hate him, this is my fault. He heard about the Amico from me and I passed the torch on to him. Said, it's all you, brother. Run with it. Run with it. And then I kind of backed off and everything. But he states multiple times that if you have a problem with him, so to speak, blame the creep. So to most of you, you're welcome. To a few of you, sorry, deal with it. But you're still welcome. The Ballad of Jimi Hendrix. Yep. I should have my guitar here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then somebody else's guitar that I've had for almost 2 years that I'm supposed to repair. It's a simple 3-way switch on a Les Paul Studio. But it's not really that simple. He left it in the basement and then he got a flood. So the top is separating from the body. And he kind of dragged his feet on whether or not he wanted me to reseal it and whatever. Or not. And most of the paint, of course, it's nitrocellulose lacquer. And it doesn't like moisture. So most of it flaked off. So I kind of took a Scotch-Brite thing and just removed it all and then put like a little stain on it. It actually looks pretty cool. It looks really cool. I like relic guitars. I like legit relic guitars, you know. I mean, if you want to buy a brand new guitar and fuck it all up, that's on you. I don't care. But I prefer road-worn actual instruments. There's a vibe and a soul to them. So, and this one's definitely it. Let's see what else we got here. I just got knocked out by Jane Security in a dark bar. Oh, did you really? Jane Lane, lead singer of Warrant. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. You got knocked out by their security? That's awesome. I was security in a lot of cases, too, even though we were playing. We used to, we were playing at this place called the Music Complex. That was our rehearsal space. And down the street, it was in this town called Somerville. Real tough area. And down the street was this little bar called the Irish Eyes. Go figure, right? And we were in there having a few beers, making flyers. And the dude's like, you guys are in a band? Yeah, we're in a fucking band. Well, we've been, wanting to get band. I mean, this place was like an old man's watering hole, legit. So we ended up running the door on Fridays and Saturday nights, bringing bands in. And they literally, there was no PA system. And it was actually a unique setup. You would walk in, and to the left is where the band is, and they would be lower. It was where the pool tables were. So on those weekend nights, They pushed the pool tables out of the way, and like 3 bands would come in and cram all this shit in there. And there was no PA system, so it was balls to the wall. Balls to the wall. Basically, if you can get your equipment louder than the drums, you're good to go. The singers had to bring in their own little something. Obviously, we would only allow bands to have like a little PA system for the singing themselves, but nothing was mic'd up except for the people singing. We had a small setup that we would let some people use, but that was a good time. That was a really good time. But the point of me saying is, I played security there too, and I was good at it. I liked it. Back then, I fucking loved it. I loved putting my hands on people back then. I'll admit it. I was young, dumb, and full of cum, and ready to rock and roll at all times. That's why I went into corrections. But I quickly found out, that going in with that kind of attitude ain't gonna give you nothing but stress, and you're gonna fucking burn out or get killed. It took me about 1.5 years to figure it out, but I did. And then the rest of my career was fun. I had a great time doing it. Where else can you sit there and say you were making X amount of money playing spades all day with people? It was awesome. Videodrome 80. I absolutely love that name. Did you get some blood for blood up in there? I have no idea what you were asking me. Did I get some blood for blood up in there? Be a little more, I'm not the brightest bulb in the batch. Did you get some blood for blood up in there? Are you talking about when I was bouncing? You talking about that shit? When I was 17, I'm 45. Okay, cool. So it was a young guy experience. The Boston Hardcore Band. Oh, I never really got into the hardcore stuff. My apologies. I don't recognize that name. I'm sorry. Booked in the bar. Oh, not that I remember. There were a couple of hardcore bands. There was one called Product 62, which eventually became a band called Slump. They actually took the bassist and the other guitar player from our band, which at the time was just called Noise. It was a dumb name for a band. And they become Slump after Product 62. Product 62 was such a cool name. They literally got it because the singer was, he worked at some warehouse or something, and that was on a box somewhere that he saw. And he's like, bam, that's the name of our band, Product 62. And I've always loved it, but it didn't go far, None of us went far. I mean, I went up and down the coast, but I didn't become famous or nothing. Population Death Rate was that band. That was, mid to late 90s. We were still trying to keep the whole thrash thing alive, and it just didn't work. We got kicked out of a lot of places, as a matter of fact. Especially up north. Maine was not very nice to us. At one point, a dude, no lie, about the third song, just shut the fucking equipment off right there. Boom! Get out! And we're like, oh, okay. My bad. Sorry. No. But yeah. Maybe I should have a guitar here. We can do a Kumbaya session. But, wow, how many people are in here today? Let me click over here and look. Warning, please check your video resolution. All right, well, according to this thing, my video resolution sucks. But that's all right. Wow, I've been streaming for 43 minutes. So we got 8 people in here. That's awesome. Guys, thank you for coming and hanging out with me. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I didn't expect to be streaming this long. I really just wanted to talk about the victory of last week's Amico event and congratulate Tommy on it, because I do think that was the kick to the arse. Not that it needed it, but I've said it a couple times already in the stream. It just made it feel real. And I can't wait. Today's April Fool's Day, and I'm not going to play April Fool's jokes, but I wanted to get a 3D printer to make this an April Fool's joke. And unfortunately, I didn't get it in time, and people started getting their VCS consoles. I was legit hoping that nobody got their console until after April, because I wanted to print one of these up and then be like, guys, I don't know how I got mine first, but I got mine. And I was going to be as legit with it as possible and just let it go. and just let it go. But obviously, we know that didn't happen. My next thing was I wanted to I wanted to 3D print an Amico shell and be like, I got sent a dev kit by accident. I don't know if maybe Tommy put my name in the wrong thing, but I got sent a dev kit. And me and one other person have actually been collaborating for a little bit, not really crazily, on, on making. I'm not gonna say who because I don't know if they want to be known. We've been working with design ideas on how to make it convincing for us to print it. As a matter of fact, I think I have one of his test prints here still for the controller. I don't. Oh, I thought I did. I've been playing with it because it's two shells and it's fun slamming it together. And I have my design on Tinkercad, and I just never got the console worked out. I actually at one point wanted to message Tommy and be like, dude, just give me the files. I know your first prototypes were printed. Just please ask your people to give me the STL files. I will not share them. I'll delete them as soon as it's printed up, and I will not say where they came from. But I never did ask him because I figured that would be a little bit much to ask him. I think that would have not been too far, but I don't, just leave it be. And if he comes on later on saying, I totally would have done that, I'm going to sell tickets for all of you to line up and shoot me right in the nuts, okay? One shot each. Blam! But you have to donate to the Alzheimer's Association in order to make that happen. So Videodrome's going on about Boston Hardcore, booked in the bar. I know all about it. I was in the Long Island, New York hardcore scene. Oh, right on, man. Dude, that was the scene, if I'm not mistaken. That was the hardcore scene down there. As a guitar player. It looks like a VCS. Well, it pretty much is. It's not as big, and it doesn't have they revamped it to have like a little bit of a thing here for the USB and all that to make it look a little bit more like the original console, which is right here. That's a heavy sixer. It doesn't have that raised lower part, but I think it's convincing enough. If I put the feet on it, I got little slots for feet here. This file's on Thingiverse, by the way. It's nothing that I designed. But that same person also printed me up a shell. We were working on that before the VCS came out, and our timing just didn't jive. It would have been a really fun video to make. But, shit happens. What are you going to do? Let's see. Would be a great gag. Yeah. I like having fun. I'll pick on people here and there. But for the most part, I like to have fun. I like to do silly things. It's at the end of the day, people take... Let's talk about Amico here. People take the concept of the Amico, I think, fucking way too serious. There's websites and YouTube channels dedicated to nothing but. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because there's positives as well as negatives when it comes to all of that. And what I mean by that is people speaking positively and also people speaking negatively. Not that there's a positive and a negative to these people doing this stuff as a general thing. But the fact that something like the Amico, and I think it all comes back down to a personality, a specific personality that I can totally see a lot of people being off-put by. That individual's in your face. And if he has something to say, he's going to fucking say it. He doesn't care. And going back to the whole, almost like we were talking about earlier, information is instant, and if people don't have that kind of information, they feel like they're not in control anymore because they've been so in control of information because of the internet. They can't control the consumer maker, so to speak. And I think a lot of times they get, Crow, what's up, buddy? Crow's in the house. Caw. What a great show. I was watching him the other day. Just a great show. Go check out Crow. He's awesome. Always has something to like, but it's a new twist. That's what I want to say. He puts a breath of fresh air into a lot of the topics that we talk about ad nauseum. But much like with information, if people can't control the information now, they feel ill-used, so to speak, and they get mad. Much like with Tommy. People will come out and say, hey, this, that, and the other thing, and Tommy will be like, no. And people aren't used to that. They used to the customer's always right. So we're just going to shut up and bow down to your. And Tommy's not that kind of guy. He has a stake in this thing that's huge, a lot huger than we could probably even imagine. And I have no doubt that he's going to succeed one way or the other. I'm not saying the product itself is going to just yet, because we have to wait and see it come out. We have to see what it does within its market. But regardless, he is going to succeed. There is no doubt about that. But it's his method in which he goes about these certain things. He has a lot of faith in his product, and if he didn't, he'd be an idiot. And he has no problem correcting people. And he is blunt, and he is in your face. He's a product of the East Coast. And a lot of people tend to not be able to handle it too well, or they misread it. You know? It's just a dialect that we have, or a way we can push. Going back to OEB Pete's video this morning, he says he's probably cuddly, but let's just say he's from Boston. I'll just leave it at that. You know what I mean? What are you trying to say, motherfucker? But in all seriousness, I think people have more of a problem with Tommy than they do the console. Sure, they have their concerns. Oh, it's just splash games and whatever. And they just can't understand that people are looking for that. There are people looking for that. And their biggest argument is the Switch. And lately I've been seeing a lot of GIFs and memes talking about the Switch destroying. And, there was one that said, what would you buy your kids, an Amico or a Switch? And I remember looking at that meme going, yes. Yes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, or either ors here. Would you buy your kid an Amico or a Switch? Yes. Because they're different kinds of entertainment, I think so. And they may still be video games, but they have their own vibe and flavor. So, I'm enjoying the Switch. I streamed that game yesterday. I apologize for the first 30 minutes of it being nonsense. I was just fucking around with it. And then we started the actual game itself, and I plan on streaming more of that during the day here coming up. But let's see, what do we got here? Have Tommy autograph it before you mail it. What? Let's see, the crow. The customer is always right. Let's see, the full saying is the customer is always right in matter of taste. You know what? There's something to be said about that, Crow. Thank you for putting that in there. I had a sandwich shop in Arizona. I bought into it with my retirement money from the prison. I ended up losing it, but whatever. And I had a sign above the counter that said the customer's always right until they're wrong. And you know what? And people sit there and say, well, if you don't have the customer service at all times, you're not going to go anywhere in business. I feel that if you're realistic and you know how to weed out douchebags, you can be just fine. I mean, maybe now in today's cancel culture, it might be a little bit different. But back then in 2000, I think, 2004 or 5 is when I joined in. And around 2008 is when things went to shit. But my store, because we had 2 locations, was hopping at all times. I had customers that would come in on Friday night and expect supper with me. So I had to watch what I ate because there was like 3 or 4 groups of people. I had one customer set that would come in. I was invited to their fucking wedding. Okay? But I didn't put up with shit. And I made it very clear that if you're going to come in and fucking talk like a douchebag to my help, who, by the way, made more than minimum wage, but they didn't make enough to deal with your entitled bullshit. I'm not going to fucking side with you. You can get the fuck out. I don't care how much money you spend in my joint. You're not treating my people like shit. You want to yell at me? Fine. Whatever. Yell at me in the back room. We'll go have a smoke. Maybe we'll throw it down. I don't know. But either way, you want to yell at me? I own the joint. I'm making the most money. By all means, go ahead. I'm not going to give in to petty bullshit. It ain't going to happen. I had this one guy come up to me. He ate fucking, I'd say about 80% of his sandwich, and had the balls to tell me it was cold. I said, yeah, because you ate most of it. He goes, but it's cold. So I'll heat it up for you if you want. He's like, no, I want a new one. I'm not going to give you a new one unless you want to buy one new one. And he just stared at me, and I stared at him. And I just went back to my newspaper. And the kid working behind the counter was just like, dude, that was pretty slick how you did that. The guy was all like, And he left. But you know what? He came back. He came back anyway. I wasn't that guy that that gave in to nonsense. I won't give in to nonsense. You know? The customer's always right until they're fucking wrong. End of story. And don't be a dickhead. That's all I ask. And I will bend over backwards to make you happy. I will. And I have. So, see what else is going on. Grudge. Yep. Started with the Amico for younger kids. Progressed to the Switch and then the Xbox or PlayStation. I mean, yeah, if you want to have a 5-year plan for video games, that's right. I'm not looking at the Amico, at least in my situation like that, because, you know, my kids, they're going to be 13 in a couple of months. So, and one of them is really excited, and the other one's just kind of like, oh, cool, another piece of technology coming in the house, and she loves that kind of thing. But the other one wears the Amico shirt and all kinds of stuff. She's looking forward to it. But they also love their Switch. They got a Switch for Christmas from their uncles, and I get the benefit from that as well. But yeah, no, it's a great stepping stone thing, almost like Leapfrog. I'm not comparing them. Before some dickhead on another website goes, oh, the Creep says it's like Leapfrog. He has no faith in the Amico. I'm talking about stepping stones in video games, you know. We all had them, but it was just more of a technology progression than anything. I started with the Atari, and eventually had a Nintendo, and then the greatest console of all time, the fucking Genesis. Still the greatest console of all time. I don't care what anyone says. I absolutely love that 3-button controller. It's my favorite. That and the DualShock. I love that. Person is great. People are a bunch of jerks. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I don't like people. I hate them. I'll never forget at Olive Garden once, the table across from us was yelling at the waiter. Their breadsticks had mold on it. Well, okay, you know what, honestly, if the breadsticks legit had mold on it, screaming and yelling ain't going to do nothing, but you do have to bring that up. At that fucking store, Olive Garden. Well, I grew up in the East Coast where, like, you know, Mama has a fucking restaurant, so I don't go to places like Olive Garden, but, yeah, that's a tough one to assess, dude. I'll tell you a funny story in a minute that revolves around a tomato. See, I'm looking at as a party console, especially. Yeah, dude, I referred to it as like the fondue console once. I can't believe that hasn't become a thing. It totally has that 70s let's get together vibe to me. It really does. It really does. Sega! All right, so there's a company over here in the East Coast, for those of you who are not around here, and they're dying out slowly, and it sucks, but I know why, because they suck now. A company called Friendly's. We had 2 of them here in my town. And it was actually my first legit job growing up. We used to sit there, smoke butts, and drink coffee in the place. And one day the manager just threw an apron at me and said, look, if you're going to fucking be here, you're either going to pay rent or you're going to get to work. What's it going to be? So I got a job. I eventually ended up managing one right off of the highway in this town called Woburn. And they were actually a corporate training store. And I somehow by accidentally became the general manager. I didn't want anything to do with that. I'm like, if you want me to be the assistant general, that's fine. I'll do all the stuff. I don't mind having the responsibility. I just don't want the accountability. You know what I mean? And then one day, my general manager, Roger, wasn't there, and a little gold plaque came in and said, you know, Chris Call, general manager. And I'm like, okay, so this is a thing now. What's my new pay? So we discussed that. I had a hard time keeping cooks in that place. I don't know what it was. It wasn't like it was a tough place to work. You've been at a Friendly's? Dude, Friendly's used to be awesome. I love Friendly's. I have a great story about that I should share later. Yeah, dude, definitely. You know what? Do it in one of your Retro Rich things, you know? Good times with Retro Rich. I'm telling you. So I cooked more than not, you know. We did have one cook that stuck around. I ended up giving him like $4 more an hour than I normally would have because he was a good cook and he was willing to be there. But he disappeared on me one day. And it turned out like 4 months later, I found out he was in a motorcycle accident in a coma. So I offered him his job back whenever he was well. He's like, I can't walk anymore. I felt so bad. But the reason I'm telling you is because I was always cooking as the general manager in the morning anyway. I had two evening cooks that would come in pretty regularly and very reliably. But mornings, I couldn't get anyone in there to save my fucking life. Well, we were right on the side of the highway, which means we got a lot of buses. So there was this one morning we got a couple buses, and just the place is fucking hopping, right? These two things happen in the same morning, and this shows you the level people can be. Okay, I'm hearing this guy flipping the fuck out. I mean, he's losing his mind on the waitress and all this stuff. So finally, I peek my head out. I'm like, is this something I can help you with while I'm over here trying to cook everyone's meal? He's like, I asked for no tomato. And mind you, this guy was going off and off. I mean, he was losing his shit. I walk over there, and the way we used to do it back then is the lettuce and tomato would be like off to the side. And I saw he was eating the burger already without any of it anyway. So I put a glove on, I took the tomato and took it off his plate and said, is there anything else I can do for you? And I got like real close into his face because I was pissed. And he just looked at me and said, nope, that's fine, thank you. I don't mind showing people that they're fucking idiots. Don't be an idiot. This dude was losing. I mean, he was calling this waitress. People suck. And on the other hand, later on that afternoon, I told you the lettuce and everything was on the side, so you could choose to put it on the burger or not. And maybe the waitress should have wrote no tomato. And that's true. I mean, I'll give her that, but it didn't warrant that kind of reaction from this cocksucker. But later on, this lady found like a little insect in her lettuce, which is, it's produce. What are you going to do? So she calls me over, and she wants me to be quiet. Shh, come here. And she lifted up the lettuce and showed the bug. I'm like, oh my. And she's like, no, don't worry about it. Just bring me another plate. It's not big. It's produce. I get it. So I took the plate away, and of course she got all kinds of cool stuff for it. But she had a legit thing. And she's just like, no, I don't want to call attention to it. I just don't want it on my plate anymore. So can you please, put together something else for me and make sure it's bug free? Like, oh shit. And meanwhile, the other guy, there's a tomato on the side of his plate, and he's fucking losing his mind like I just shot his mom in the face with a fucking bazooka. You know what I mean? Jubilee rolls, dude. My favorite was the watermelon roll. I absolutely love the watermelon roll. Their headquarters is in Wilbraham. I know, I've been there multiple times. I actually got an award down there when I was actually a teenager. I got this thing called the Silver Dollar Friendly Award. They had their own corporate mystery shoppers that would come out. And I worked at the Fountain, which is the ice cream section. And it was the 4th of July, and it was pouring rain. We had nobody in there. So we had a lot of extra time to clean and get things organized. So we had some guy who was paying his bill. I noticed he didn't have any ice cream, and he looked pissed off about something. So I was like, come on, man, you look upset. Let me get you an ice cream here before you leave. It'll make you feel better. Turns out he was a mystery shopper, and I got a perfect 100 score on his little dealio. He was only going to do the waitress that day, and she got a low score because she was in a bad mood, and he was in a bad mood, and I got a perfect 100, so the company took me out to dinner and gave me this. If I still had it, it would be worth money now, but Friendly's was a tough company to work for because they were very conservative, extremely conservative, and they were very strict about that kind of thing. And they didn't pay anybody. It was just a real tough company to work for, but the camaraderie within the employee ranks was great. It was I would say it was probably one of the best growing up experiences I had, working for Friendly's as a teenager and hanging out there, and just the friends I met there are lifelong. My wife, well, now my ex-wife, but it was a fun company to have around, and they're all gone now. There's a few. I went and had my COVID shot. My first one was last week down at Gillette Stadium, and there's a Friendly's up the street that I actually did work at for a little bit, temporarily. So I popped in there, and they've gone downhill. They've gone downhill quite a bit. I was not pleased. I mean, I'm not the type to complain, but unfortunately, I see why they're all going out of business. They've been out of touch with the current trends. I don't even think their business model would lend to that. I think they need to be kind of a legacy company and just stick to what they're good at. Fisherman Jigs, Big B Burgers, and fucking Fribbles. You know what I mean? Don't try to branch out. When I was managing one, they were trying to do like big roasted chicken suppers and stuffed pork chops. And they had to bring in all these weird contraptions to make it look legit, like just stick to what you know, buddy. Just stick to what you know, The only thing you have to watch for is allergies. Yeah, dude, it's a big thing, allergies. So if the guy was allergic to tomatoes, it might have been an issue. And you know what? You're right, but he wasn't. And that's not a topic that came up. If that had, okay, with me, it's not what's being said or done, it's how. I mean, I know that's cliche to say, but if you're like legit allergic to a tomato or something like that, I fully expect you to be upset with it being on the table. But you got to make that clear too, you know? You got to make it clear. I mean, there was no right and wrong in that situation except for this guy's reaction. If you saw what he was doing, I mean, he was like punching the table, screaming and yelling, calling his chick a dumb bitch. I don't give a fuck if he was allergic or not at that point. He's lucky I didn't put it in his mouth. You know what I mean? No, you don't treat my staff like that. I don't give a shit what the problem is. I really don't. I don't. Unless he spits or she spit in his face or something like that, or made fun of a kid, or I don't know, hit somebody. You don't talk to my staff like that. I don't care what the situation is. You're not getting shit from me, but reality check. Jerome, they ended up putting too much stuff on the menu. Yeah, exactly. Business model I always loved. The Fish and Majig Big Beef Burgers. Yeah, I love Fish and Majigs. Dude, it's only $9.50, and you're already making me hungry for lunch. Oh, man. So it's $10.50 here, so you're like an hour away. Yeah, I got a sausage, meatball, spinach, extra cheese calzone in the fridge that was left over from the other night that I can't wait to dig my fuck hole in. And the crinkle cut fries were better. I love crinkle cut fries. I was talking about that. You know why? Because they crisp better when you cook them well done. Unlike the regular fries, I mean those do get crispy, but they stay mushy. You know, I like them mushy inside and crispy on the outside. I know I don't have teeth, but I still enjoy things like that. You know what I mean? Let's see. Business model. Yeah. Fisherman Jig. All that stuff. Friendlies was fun. Friendlies was a fun company. They suck now. They suck now. I think they stayed private for too long. I think that's really what the problem was. And then they ventured out into the open market, and that didn't work out. They tried to do franchising. So off to work. Enjoyed watching your channel, Creep It Real. Relic Gamer, thank you so much. Dude, I see you all the time on Facebook. I need to send you a friend request. I think I'll do that today. And if you don't want to, by all means, refuse it. But I see you pop up as a suggestion all the time. So I think I'm just going to finally pull the trigger and say hi. So, best grilled cheese. Dude, you know what? They made a living. Them and the Newport Creamery and Brigham's. Those were like the trifecta of that style of restaurant. Pioneered the melt sandwiches, which, if you don't know what a melt sandwich is basically a big piece of sourdough made into a grilled cheese with stuff in it. Like my favorite was the turkey melt. It was, a couple pieces of American cheese, turkey, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and Thousand Island dressing. Oh my God, was that so good. I love a good turkey melt. I mean, they had a whole bunch of like tuna melt. And then they had a grilled cheese melt. The grilled cheese melt was literally a grilled cheese, tomato, and mayonnaise, and that's it. But it was a big piece of sourdough, like 3 or 4 stacks of cheese in it. The patty melt, yeah, dude, patty melts are awesome. You know what? I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, and I don't care. I'm a fan of veal. I don't order it as much as I used to because I do want to stay a little bit conscious to what's going on in the world. But fuck it, veal is just so tasty, and I cannot not eat it for a while. But when I was a teenager, I graduated high school in '94, so to give you an idea when this was, it was probably the early '90s. '92 is when I started working for them. They were still selling their veal melt, which was on rye bread with Swiss cheese and it was mozzarella cheese and red sauce, some gravy. They stopped serving it. They stopped serving it because of the consciousness of the, whatever. People still aren't a big fan of how veal is produced, and I totally get it. I get it. But I love veal parmesan sandwiches. But we had 2 cases of veal parms, and we weren't allowed to sell them at all. Once it came off the menu, they're like, nope. It doesn't matter if people beg you. Just say we don't have any in the house. So my boss at the time, this guy named Ken, looked at me and said, "You're a big fan of those, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "They're all yours." You got free meal until those cases are gone. If you want to take them home, go ahead. So I took a case home and left the case at the store. And I had free fucking Field Farm sandwiches for like 3 months. I got sick of it after a while. And it's Friendly's, dude. It's Friendly's frozen veal patties, okay? It still tasted good. Think of it like the McRib. It's kind of rib meat, but not really. So, I don't know if socially I can feel bad about eating Friendly's veal patties because there probably really wasn't even veal. It was probably just like shit beef that they ground up into like a slurry and gave it flavoring to kind of resemble veal and then flash froze it while breading it. I don't know. But either way, the story goes, I just had a fuck ton of veal to eat for like months. And it was good. Life was great. So let's see. Well, we're approaching 11 o'clock. Wow. I tell you what, when I'm done with my coffee, I'll sign on. I'm almost done here. I'm actually starting to get amped up because I've had three or four cups. And I'm surprised I haven't heard from the hospital. I need to start talking with the case manager over there about, not to be a bummer, but I don't think my mom can go back home. I don't have the resources to be there 24 hours a day. Though my nephew keeps yelling at me. He's like, you can't just fucking leave Nanny like that. I'm like, are you going to do it? Are you going to? I can't be there. And she cannot be alone. The fucking woman wiped out 3 times in 24 hours. You know, I had to go pick her up. I've had to dress her the past week or so. And then when her doctor found out that, you know, her speech is now being affected. Guys, can I be a PSA kind of guy? I'm not going to try to sway anybody as far as COVID and your rights and masks and vaccinations and all that shit. I can only relate to you what I am going to do. I am getting a vaccination, okay? I have the first one already in me. I'm getting the second one April 21st, I think, which I will actually go to that Friendly's now, and I will go get a turkey melt sandwich now that we've talked about it, because I did go there for lunch after my first vax. But my personal experience with COVID is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, my mom, a year ago on the 30th of March, was hospitalized for COVID on death's door. I mean, she was a cunt hair away from fucking splitting her mortal coil. And somehow she came through. And then they put her into like a physical therapy rehab thing. And she came out. She was still independent, but you could tell there was something there. There was something not there anymore. COVID destroyed her as a human being. She has had her vaccinations as well. I mean, she's an older lady, and of course, she still has the predisposition to, you know, have it and not be able to handle it as well as some others. But it fucked her up. It really fucked her up. And these past 2 weeks, she has dipped so far. COVID aged this woman easily 10 years. Easily 10 years in a matter of a couple of months. She can't speak very well anymore, to the point where they thought she had a stroke. So they did the MRI and everything, and it turns out not. She can't, her legs just don't work anymore. She'll be standing there, and all of a sudden it'll be as if they were just gone. And she just goes backwards. And it's pretty sad seeing what's going on with her. She'll be 76 in May. Yeah, her birthday's in May. I'm horrible with dates, so don't yell at me for being a bad son, which I am. I'll admit it. I'm not the greatest son in the world, but I'm doing my best. But if you're not taking this COVID shit seriously, I know we're supposedly on the tail end, but it's not time to let your guard down. Please just listen to what I'm saying. I don't care if you take what I'm saying, and don't argue against me, because this is a legit experience, and it's not thoughts or philosophies or feelings on anything. This is just my actual experience when it comes to COVID itself. I know of a handful of people we've lost to COVID. One of the moms of a young lady at my school, her mom passed away of COVID while we were out of school last year. Really nice girl, and she's lost without her mom. She doesn't have her dad. Her mom's not around anymore. I think she's with her grandmother in another state now. But I've had a boss who lost her father to COVID. It's taken so much from everybody. And it's so bizarre seeing all these naysayers. And it's fine if you can believe what you want to believe. But I only say shit like this not because I want to prove anyone wrong or push an agenda. In fact, the fact that anyone's politicizing something like this is just, it's disgusting to me. It really is. I'm not much of a political guy. I tend to stick to topics like freedom of speech and stuff like that. And right and wrong versus anything else. I don't have a side. I really don't. I don't have a left or a right side. I just go to what makes sense to me. And if that makes sense to me, then I'm going to be for it. And if something seems absolutely off to me, I'm going to speak about it. But I try not to get too political anymore these days. So I'm not trying to politicize the whole COVID thing. But guys, what I've witnessed over the past year, literally a year, we just celebrated the year anniversary of all this, our experience with this fucking disease, this virus, or whatever you want to call it. No fucking joke. This woman was healthy. I mean, she was a little overweight, not much. But she was healthy. She was smart as a whip. Or, she got sick. And then from there, it was just like easily 10 years. Easily 10 years. So take it seriously, please. I really, for your sake, not for any other reason than I want you and your loved ones to be well. I want you guys to be well. And whether you come back here or not, it's neither here nor there. I don't, it's why I do the Alzheimer's thing. I fucking hate hearing that people have to go through that still to this day after what we went through, It's fucked up. Ooh, I got this right here. It doesn't come across on camera, but it's a silk filament. And I'm going to be printing up a whole bunch of these here pretty soon. And these will be for sale on my Etsy shop. And every dime coming from these is going to go to the Alzheimer's Association. I'll do a deposit once a month. But I'm really excited about this. It says, Walk to End Alzheimer's 2021. I'm not, the Atari Creep is written here, but I'm going to submit these in this thing. The Alzheimer's Association has this thing called The Longest Day. And I don't know if they do it every year, but at least this year they're doing, Craft for Alzheimer's or something like that. And I'm going to submit this as my Craft for Alzheimer's. I've never actually signed up for that program. The Longest Day, and they do it in June, which is legitimately the longest day that we have, meaning the longest the sun is out, between set and rise. I probably should have said that the other way, but you know what I'm saying. So that link is down below. I mean, if you haven't had a chance yet to toss, I've gotten an amazing response from you guys, and I can't think. You know what? Let me see where we're at. Hold on. Let me look. All right, Pornhub. No, we don't want Pornhub. Midgets are fun, but I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking kidding. I can't say midgets. I just did twice. Let's see, where are we at with this? $1,475. What, 2 weeks in? You fucking people are amazing. Amazing. All these accomplishments they're talking about. Let's see. Let's go through the scrolly thing. I'll wait for it to reset, and that's what we'll do. We'll end this stream with thank yous to Alzheimer's donators and everything. Let's see. I was a cable TV repairman. Little old ladies became monsters when Home Shopping Network doesn't work. Oh my God! Tell me, my mom is still to this day a QVC whore. Oh, I still see QVC boxes in her house. I'm like, Ma, you're on a limited income here, Ma. You better chill out with QVC. Wow, thoughts are with you and your mom. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that, Grudge. I really do. Thank you. I'll just leave it at that. Let's see. Later. Are you leaving, bud? All right. Well, you have a good night. Jonathan Bernhardt. Hey, Chris. I hope your mom feels better soon. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Ah, shit. It scrolled. I'm going to wait for it to come back. We'll say thank you to everybody. But yeah, the whole point of me starting this stream today was to start this live chat thing and see how it went. It looks to me like it went well, and I really appreciate everyone coming in. And we went all over the place. It was great. But I did want to finally congratulate, not finally, but to end the stream, my mother-in-law watches QVC. Yeah, dude. Totally, yeah. Congratulations to Tommy. I really do believe last weekend was an enormous victory, whether anyone realizes it or not. And they, you can make fun of me all you want. Anybody who's a naysayer. All right, here we go. Donations. Bacon Ice Cream Company. 250, dude. Thank you, man. TT. You know who that is. 250. Christian Martin, $200. Oh, the scrolling stopped. The scrolling stopped. Tony TGGGG, him, 150. We need to actually start getting, I'm going to go into it here on my computer. It locked up on my phone. I need to start getting people's logos for the shirt. It's April 1st, and we need to get that going. Okay, here we go. Bacon ice cream, 250. Ah, come on, don't tell me you're resetting too. Here we go. Bacon ice cream, rich, amazing every year. Can't wait till you announce that, dude. TT, we know who that is. 250. Christian Martin, 200. Tony TGD, 150. Grudge, $100, dude. Thank you, my buddy Johnny Mono. Amazing channel. TV dinner. He has a show where he takes $20 and he has to buy a game and have supper with that $20. Really good stuff. If I think about it, I'll link it down below. Johnny Mono is a good friend of mine from back in Arizona. Really good dude. His wife's an amazing artist. Really great couple. Awesome. Thank you. Jimmy Brazel, $50 in memory of Sandra Ashton. Sandra, I believe, succumbed to the disease, and I'm sorry to hear that, man. Video game dust sleeves. Chris, my buddy, $50 already, and that's from Dust Sleeve Sales. I'm sure you know what those are already. They're for your cartridges. He does a special one for me every year. He doesn't take a dime for any of it. He doesn't take it for his time, his materials, or anything. He sells them, and all the money goes into, and he rounds it up every time. And his first donation through that was for $50. Chris, thank you, bro. OEB Pete, $50. Man, thank you, man. I got an Anonymous for $50. I know who that's from. Sabretooth Retro, a really good friend from the Atari.io forums, $50. We got a Frank Tilley. He left the number blank on the site, so I will leave it. I know how much. I have it noted in my thing. Frank, thank you so much. Christopher Westerman, $35. Thank you so much, man. And Television Nation, I missed that one. I don't remember seeing in Television Nation. If I did, I apologize for not saying anything sooner. Thank you. Thank you, Television Nation. They were a sponsor last year. I'm going to confirm with them that that was a sponsorship donation. If not, then either way, I'm happy. Thank you. Phil, the No Swear Gamer, with $25. If you want to know anything about a game, as long as he's played it, obviously, he is probably the greatest resource here on the internet. He reviews games, but he tells you everything you need to know about the publishing, its background, how to play it, the best way to play it, and all the different variations. He'll tell you how much it costs in the market. Really great channel, one of my favorites of all time on the tubes of you. If you're not following the No Swear Gamer, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life. The games are, my buddy Mike here, $25. Thank you, man. Richard R., my buddy Rick, he's responsible for helping me get this Dracula VFD game. A really good friend from the IO forums. We've done a lot of, I've purchased my Pitfall 2 from him, and we've gone back and forth as far as trading and stuff. Really good dude. $20. Thank you, man. Mr. and Mrs. Beefy and Baby Beef. I don't remember who that is, but I'm pretty sure I have it written down in my notepad. $20. Thank you. Dinobot 711. There's another one I haven't noted down yet. That's a somewhat recent one. Let me write it here so I can put it in my... I have a file on the computer where I have everybody's information. $10. The Atari Creep, $10. Anonymous, $10. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate everybody's continuing support of my walk to end Alzheimer's. And from what I understand, the actual walk is on. So that's all there is to it. Let me catch up on the chat, and then we will say goodbye. Hope your mom feels better. Okay, that's where I left off. If you're on PSN, look me up, Creep. No, I don't have a PlayStation Network. In fact, I don't have a PlayStation Online. So I don't. But if I do, remind me. You'll know. I'll have a video out saying, hey, look, I got a PlayStation. My mother-in-law watches QVC. She doesn't even have a credit card. You know what? It's entertaining sometimes, I suppose. I know HSN and QVC draws. Yeah, man, they bring all the old ladies to the yard. They don't even need a milkshake. Damn, Creep. I hate it for you. Yes. No, I appreciate it. I know exactly what you're saying, man. I say we just hate it in period. You know, I had COVID back in October. Took me 3 months to get over. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But I'm glad you said those words, to get over it. I'm glad that, and what I'm saying is, I'm not saying get over it. I'm glad you're able to recover. Hopefully you're back to 100%. Yeah. Glad you got better, Grudge just said. Yeah, exactly. Seems to hit some extra hard. And you know, that's weird. My mom has a friend that's actually older than her who contracted COVID but showed zero signs. And she was probably, I say, equally as healthy as my mom is. You know, my mom's not unhealthy. She wasn't unhealthy before COVID. Jonathan, thank you for coming in, man. He said he's got to go. Take care. Thanks for coming in. We're going to be signing off here in a second anyway. But she got COVID and it didn't fucking bother her at all. You know? It's so weird what it does. Let's see, my mom has COVID now. Her case is extremely mild. Thank God. Yeah, no shit. It bothers me that I can't go take care of her. Yeah, dude, that was the hardest part. That was the hardest part. Knowing that my mom very well... No, I'm not trying to put fear into you. But in my situation, my mom was this close to going. She was real close. And knowing that we couldn't be there. Couldn't fight. I think that destroyed me more than anything. This poor woman scared. Not in her own home. No one of love around her. The staff was amazing, though. I'm not going to lie. But they can be as amazing and caring. But it's not the same as having your family with you. You know, COVID sucks. It messed with my walking, too. I'm sorry to hear that. We're thinking of your family down here, brother. Have a great weekend. And thanks for the stream. My pleasure. All right, guys. That's where I'm going to call it a day. Coffee's almost out. And you know what? I'm not going to have that calzone. I'm going to go get myself something. I want a gyro or gyro, however you want to say it. There's a place down the street here that actually still has it on the heat cone. It cuts it fresh. So, guys, thank you for coming by. I really do appreciate it. Anyone who comes over after the fact, thank you. That link is down below, man. If you still want to, $5, $10, share the link, whatever. It all helps. Keep an eye out for these. My Etsy shop is listed down below. These will be up soon as I get my ass in gear and print up a whole bunch. I would really appreciate if you guys, if for any reason, just to get the money into the Alzheimer's Association. I'm really excited about those, and I'm excited about things that are coming. So please follow me, and of course follow all my buddies. But you're definitely going to want to follow Rich of the Bacon Ice Cream Productions. Trust me. Trust me on this one. It's not just a go over there and follow him kind of a thing. You're going to want to be following him. And that's all I'm going to say. Guys, have a great afternoon. Hey, Cyrus, we were talking about you earlier, man. And, hey, Coleco Joe's in here. Why the fuck have you been so quiet? Why have you been so quiet? Oh, I see you messaged me. All right, guys, have a good evening or afternoon. Take care. Keep it real. Goodbye. Thumbs up. Whatever. We'll see you later.